Chapter 24 Here and Gone. As 1761 nears its end, hostilities around the colony are quieting down. Nevertheless, Esteban and his Virginia regiment brethren remain at their posts, diligently patrolling and monitoring the frontier, until shortly after the new year, when they are disbanded yet again. The Alban Farm, A Cold Winter's Morn, 1762. Wrapped in his bearskin, William walks his fields of rye, puffing his pipe as he kneels to check the soil. Running his fingers through it conjures memories of the Piscataway. Visions of Tatooine and his people drift through his quiet mind, and he smiles. He scoops some into the palm of his hand and brings it to his nose, smelling its richness as he looks across his peaceful farmscape. It is quiet, cold, and damp, and his boots and pant legs are wet with dew. Closing his eyes, he breathes in a lungful of that glorious soil, then tosses it gently to the ground. With his next breath, he picks up on a hint of smoke and peers over his shoulder at the cabin. Sure enough, smoke is slowly rising from its chimney. Someone else is up and about. He turns back to the farmscape, takes another deep breath, then slowly turns and heads back to the cabin. The farm's so blissfully quiet, the only sound is that of his moccasin boots sloshing through the dew-covered field. His mind drifts to thoughts of a fresh, hot cup of coffee when he abruptly stops, his blissful serenity shattered by an errant sound. Closing his eyes, he calms his breathing, listening. Galloping to his far right. He opens his eyes, turning towards the sound, when a rider appears through the tree line. And although a good distance away, William calls out as he approaches the barnyard. "Hey there, stranger! Is there something I can help you with?" As the rider continues to walk his mount forward, he slowly lifts his head and removes his hat. "Lord Almighty!" The rider brings his horse to within feet of the old Irishman, then slips from his mount. Hands on his hips, William nods, throwing him a signature wink. "Now you see, I ken when I walked outside this morning, today we're going to be a good day." A hand on his hip and the reins in the other, a Cheshire cat grin crosses the rider's face. "So, are you saying you miss me?" William smiles warmly, arms wide. "Like mackerel missing honey in the winter, young squire. Welcome home." As they embrace, "Thanks, Da. 'Tis good to be home." William steps back, hands on his shoulders. "'Tis good to see you, John. You look well." "I am, Da. Thank you for saying. 'Tis good to see you as well. How's it hanging?" William chuckles. "Low and to the right, young squire. Low and to the right." As they share a laugh, William wraps an arm around his son's shoulder, and they turn for the cabin, horse in tow. "What do you say we go surprise your ma? Last thing we want to do is keep her waiting." I didn't survive the frontier only to come home and be bunked in the head by me own ma." His father chuckles. "I'll bet she screams. I'll bet you're right." William walks the horse to the rail and ties him off. "I dinna ken, but we're fixing to find out." John nods and laughs as they step onto the porch. Hearing them, Mary sets down her coffee and turns to the door. As it opens, two shadowy characters enter from the early morning glow. Her eyes adjust as the door closes, and their faces come into focus. Waking the family with a shriek, she leaps to her feet, hands over her heart. "Lord Almighty!" As his younger brothers blast into the room, she rushes him, bathing him in kisses and hugs as he playfully swats them away. Eyes welling, she stops and steps back, giving him a good once-over as she wipes a tear away. "'Tis good having you home again, young squire. I were beginning to wonder if I'd ever see you again. All I can say is, Thank the good Lord for answered prayers." With John's safe return home, the Albin family is once again whole, and although it had been a shorter stint, his homecoming is no less eventful. Brittleball Hollow, 2 months later, an early spring morning, 1762. With the winter thaw in full swing, William wants to get a jump on the bear population coming out of hibernation in search of food. Bear meat is always in demand, and over the years, many of his customers have praised his bearskin coat, one of whom, Mr. O'Callahan, finally in late winter, shivering through his teeth, very politely demanded William produce him one, stating he was not sure if he could bear another winter without one. Then and there, wrapped in his toasty bearskin, William silently cocked his head with a squint-eyed stare. Then Mr. O'Callahan threw out a number, and William's right eyebrow jumped. Not giving O'Callahan a second to rescind his number, he stepped forward with a firm handshake. "Done!" Looking back on it now, he cannot help but chuckle. For starters, the money is beyond ridiculous, but making it even more ridiculous is just how easy it is going to be to earn it. Snapping from his daydream, William glances to his right where John, now 22, and his 18-year-old brother Robert are riding side by side. John is particularly excited, for this will be his first opportunity to show off with his new long rifle. Okay, in truth, it is anything but new. Rather, a little something he borrowed from a certain dispatched someone who would no longer be needing it. But it is special. With its longer rifled barrel, it is so accurate he can knock a beehive out of a tree at 200 yards, having done so in a previous skirmish. This rifle in the hands of a skilled marksman like John is downright deadly. Perched on his mount high atop the ridge, William can see for miles. In every direction, a landscape of half-frozen meadows, forming streams, and groves of trees, crying out for rebirth with every droplet of water falling from their once-frozen branches. He straightens himself on his saddle and scans the area. His sons are scanning too, and Robert asks, "See anything?" His eyes still searching. "Nay, young squire." "Me neither. How about you, John?" "Nay, nary a bloody thing." With that, they push onward, slowly following the ridgeline in search of the unseen. After riding through the brisk morning air for hours, William abruptly stops, holding up a fist. As they come to a halt, Robert breathes, "Whoa." John nods. "I see him too. Looks like he's headed down to the creek." Robert glances around at their surroundings. "Aye, but the wind's at our back. If we stay up here, he's bound to find us out before we can get in range." His father silently nods, his eyes still fixed on the bear. John points. "We need to drop down into this saddle and work our way around him. Catch him on his flank where the wind's in our faces." With the raise of his right brow, William nods and turns to his sons. "'Tis a good plan, lads. Follow me." And down into the saddle they ride, slowly and silently cutting through the dimly lit, thick morning air. It takes the better part of 2 hours to catch up with the burly beast, and while it frolics in the stream, attempting to catch a bite to eat, William and the lads make their way around him, flanking their unsuspecting furry brown friend. William looks his sons in the eyes, flashing hand signals and nodding. They nod back, and the trio rides forward, straight on into the wind. Their weapons cocked, fingers on the trigger well, and their unsuspecting prey not 500 yards in front of them. While the bear continues to fish, William stops, slips from his mount, and ties him to a tree. John and Robert do the same. Huddling, they take a knee, and in his hunting voice, Robert asks, "V formation?" William nods. "Aye, lad. And you're on the left, and John, you're on the right." They exchange nods and head out, slowly moving towards their target. As his boys spread out, William works his way up the middle, careful not to be seen or heard. Within seconds, they fall out of sight of each other's view, as does the unsuspecting bear. After walking several hundred yards, the bear comes back into view as William comes around a thicket of bushes. He is on all fours 50 yards away with his back to him. Taking a knee, he alerts his sons with his warbler call. Within seconds, they reciprocate. Spotting a fallen tree just feet in front of him, he kneels behind it, props Martha upon its mighty girth, and peers down her barrel. He knows by his son's replies they are out of the line of fire. Burly beast in his crosshairs, he lets out his breath and eases back on the trigger. Crack! As the blast from Martha's barrel echoes across the once quiet landscape, the round strikes the massive creature, staggering it backwards. To William's surprise, the beast recovers and rears up on its hind legs. Paws spread wide, he roars his defiance, snout growling at the sky. Then it turns and on all fours charges William's position. William calmly and methodically reloads Martha, and still, by the time he is cocked and ready to fire, the bear has closed the gap to just 20 feet. As he confidently aims, a shot rings out, and the beast face plants into the ground just feet away from him, skidding to a halt. He lifts his head from Martha's barrel, nodding with a puckered lip. Now that's what I call some world-class shooting. Whew! Robert runs up, wide-eyed. Holy Christ! They hear John running towards them from a distance, shouting, Did you see that? That were a close one! Throwing Martha over his shoulder, William stands and tips his broad brim back. You can say that again. Too bloody close. Hell, I think me heart may explode. That were exciting. As his brother comes running up, Robert exclaims, Wow, that were one hell of a shot. How far were it? 100? 150? John stands proudly, barrel in hand, butt on the ground. Baby calculations, closer to 2. William spins his head to him. What's that? John shrugs. All right, maybe more like 185, but... His father cuts him off. That's an amazing shot. Color me impressed. Having just witnessed a bear kill they will never forget, he adds, I've seen some fine shooting over the years, but nothing like that, young squire. John, that's about the finest shot I've ever witnessed. And for John, that is the finest compliment he will ever receive from his father, the great hunter. Still glowing, he kneels beside the huge beast, then looks up at his father. You just missed his heart. He nods. Yeah, I think I just pissed him off. I'll say, all I could think were, if I didn't make this shot, you're a goner. All I could think were, I'd better pull this trigger, but I never got the chance. John spouts, No today, Makwa, no today. Robert slaps his back. And know this bear. William reaches into his pocket, retrieving his pipe and lighting it. He takes a few good puffs and blows the smoke out. Thank God you were here, or... Nonsense! You'd have dropped him with your second shot for sure. I just beat you to the punch. Just the same, that were bloody close. Robert laughs. That's why we're here, Da. John slaps his brother on the back. Hey, to keep Da out of trouble. Well, since you lads are so concerned about me, you can dress this monster whilst I have a puff. John can do that. I'll go fetch the horses, Robert says, dashing away. John turns to rebut him, but he is long gone. William pats his shoulder. No to worry, young squire. I'll be here for moral support. Right over here, in fact, smoking me pipe. John rolls his eyes as his father plops down with his pipe. And that's the things I get. Leave me to do the dirty work. Perfect. While John rambles on, William puffs his pipe, thinking about the hunt while it's still fresh. He mumbles to himself. How'd I miss that shot? With Robert off retrieving the horses and John busily dressing the bear, he just sits there, puffing his pipe and pondering his last shot. Graceful wisps of smoke slowly slipping from his lips, his eyes off in the distance. As he finishes the bowl, he snaps from his daze and stands, smacking the pipe on the bottom of his moccasin. As he stuffs it back into his pocket, he looks up to the delightful sight of the bear's innards and John stuffing the expertly butchered meat into cotton sacks for transport. "Wow! Looks like you're—" From behind him is heard a low, deep-throated growl, immediately followed by two more, and a trio make three. William spins around to three angry wolves, each of them crouching and staring him down, their heads low, teeth glistening, legs bent and ready to pounce. After surviving the winter on sparse offerings, they were looking for an easy meal and picked up on the scent of the bear's blood. While his father stares down the alpha, John scans their flank and rear as he slowly reaches for his rifle. Careful not to spook them, William slowly raises Martha, bringing the alpha into his sights. Crack! As the alpha drops, his two subordinates dart forward in attack mode. Dropping Martha, William pulls his pistol, aims, and crack! Followed simultaneously by crack! He and John aimed at the same wolf, dropping him in his tracks, leaving the third to charge forward and leap at the older Irishman. With a knee-jerk reaction, William whips it over the head with Martha's heavy barrel, knocking the beast backwards. But before he can get another whack in, the beast staggers to its feet, turns, and lunges at him, pouncing on him in the blink of an eye. As William crashes to the ground backward, John desperately reloads, watching them wrestle and struggling with how to shoot the beast without hitting his father. On his back now, William fights for his life, holding the beast at bay with his thick bearskin coat and Martha's barrel, fighting back with his arms and legs as its sharp teeth violently nip away. Grunting and groaning, he desperately searches for an opening, but it is all he can do to hold the beast off. Finally loaded, John bears down on the wolf with his barrel as it jumps from side to side atop his father, battling intensely as they grapple about. Just then, the creature falls lifeless on William's chest. Adrenaline racing, he pushes the beast off and rolls over the top of it, coming to a knee. Still huffing, he stares down on it wide-eyed. Coming upright, he thrusts his arms forward with a roll of his shoulders, adjusting his bearskin. As he gets to his feet, he pulls down on his lapel and looks up at John with a thumbs up. "Well done!" John tilts his head, pointing behind his father. "Well done indeed, and I thank God you're alive, but don't give me the credit." William spins around to find Robert jogging towards him, the horses waiting steadfastly behind him in the distance. When he reaches them, his chest is heaving. Wide-eyed and stone-faced, he stares down at the lifeless canine. William reaches down and removes the long-blade knife from the wolf's side. Wiping it on his fur, he hands it to Robert. "That were you?" Still staring at the wolf, Robert silently nods. William grabs his right arm with his left hand, shaking him firmly with his right, snapping him out of it. "Well done, young squire. I believe you just saved your old man's life." And with the squeeze, "You all right?" He slowly nods. "Aye. Just feels like I ran here all the way from home in a full-on sprint." His older brother adds, "That's how it feels in battle. Breathe like you've been tracking a buck, and you have to calm your breathing to take the shot, like you've done 100 times before." William slaps his right arm with a firm squeeze. "Aye. Through your nose, young squire. Breathe through your nose." Robert nods, then changes his breathing, in through the nose and out through the mouth. As he does, John walks over, slapping them on opposite shoulders. "Either of you hurt?" William steps back and looks himself over, paying particular attention to his hands. "A few cuts and scrapes, but yeah, I'm all right." As Robert calms his breathing, "Aye, golden." John slaps their shoulders again. "Good. Then the Brotherhood of Warrior Hunters lives on. Victory to the Brotherhood." In unison, they thrust their fists into the air. "Victory to the Brotherhood." William looks back at the horses, then at Robert with a raise of his brow. That were a hell of a throw. Robert snaps from his daze, smiling. Thanks. I kenned something were amiss when the horses started fussing, so I came running. When I saw 'em on top of you, I didn't even think. I just did it. Instinctively, like you done it 1,000 times. I reckon all that practice paid off. Sanawa would be proud. His older brother praises. His father breathes. And thank God for it. Robert laughs. Like I said before, that's why we're here. Besides, I weren't about to let John have all the fun. John looks back at the horses again, shaking his head. All I can say is, that were one hell of a throw, little brother. I had no idea you were so cool under pressure. Robert rests back on his right hip, crossing his arms with a nod. I've been taught by the best. William slaps him on the shoulder. Well, thank you, young squire. That's kind of you to say. I was talking about Sanawa and Blue Jacket. But yeah, I've learned a lot from you too, I reckon. William stares back at him with a stink-eyed glare. Oh, you have you? Robert winks at his older brother, then back at his father. Aye, I'm sure there was something. His father nods with a shit-eating grin. Well, guess what, smart guy? You just earned the privilege of skinning 3 wolves. Then he walks over and plops down on a log as he reaches for his pipe. Have fun, young squire. John laughs. Have fun, little brother. Robert stands over the alpha, blade in hand. So that's the bloody thanks I get? Sarcastically, maybe Sanawa will help you. Robert, who had already started carving, stops and looks at his father with a pissed-off glare, then goes back to carving. John walks over and kneels beside him. Very funny, Da. I'm just funning you, Robert. I'll give you a hand. As they work together skinning the wolves, John leans into his brother. You ken we could use a man like you in the regiment. Robert looks up from his skinning. Well, duh. John squints at him. I may be wrong. You may be too big for your britches. That's no true, and you ken it ain't. What is true is I'm better with me blade than you. John peers at him with a furrowed brow. I'll say this but once. Aye, a wee bit, maybe, but I'm still better with me hatchet. Still skinning, Robert's face grows into a Cheshire cat grin. That's all I wanted to hear. The Albin Farm, a few weeks later, early spring, 1762. Since his return, William has been spending every waking hour with John and his brothers, much of it teaching them how to fashion a hooded coat from a bearskin, as well as winter hooded capes with the wolf pelts. The brothers learned to tan hides when they were young, so they know they need to get to work on the wolf hides fast to avoid spoiling of the hide. The furs have been tanning for several weeks now and are finally ready to be crafted. First, William teaches them how to craft the wolf hides, walking them through the project step by step from start to finish. By the end of the first week, each of his sons have crafted themselves a wolf head hooded winter cape to be set aside with their cold weather gear to be used in the fall. And while they thoroughly enjoyed working with the wolfskins, with the legend of their father's great bear fight forever looming in their minds, it is the bearskin they have been looking forward to. For although their father has killed many a bear, he had never, until now, shown them how to craft one into a coat. For the next several days, William shows them how to harvest sinew from deer and use it as string, with each cut of his blade explaining why it had to be cut that way and why so much extra material is left on the skin, walking them through the process with every careful slice, doing the same as he stitches it together. And with the cut of the final piece of excess sinew, he holds up the coat, letting its length fall to the ground. The boy's eyes light up, and Junior blurts, Wow! It looks just like yours, Da. He nods. Well, of course, 'tis the whole idea. John breathes. Wow, 'tis beautiful. So, young squire, are you saying you like it? Robert nods, wide-eyed. Aye, 'tis beautiful. Junior runs his hand over it. So nice! Holding the heavy coat up for someone to slip into. You lads want to try it on? See how she feels? John blurts. I do. Well, come on then. This thing's heavy. William slips the coat over John's shoulders and he settles into it. Wow, it's heavy, but I love it. Why do you think I have such a strong back? I've been carrying one of these bloody things for over 30 years. John adjusts his arms and shoulders. Aye, a man could get a strong back toting one of these around all winter, but he'll damn sure no be cold. Robert blurts. Can I try? John laughs. Sure, if you can lift it off me. As William looks on, Robert takes a hold of the coat, feeling its girth for the first time as he lifts it from his brother's back. With a mighty heave, he slings the coat over his back. My Lord, it is heavy. Much heavier than I imagined. Junior says. So, I'm guessing you fellas never picked up Daw's coat either. His older brothers start to laugh and Robert blurts. Are you crazy? Touch Daw's bearskin? Nay. John adds. Nor I. I'm just no that brave. Robert laughs. Nor stupid. William puts his hands on his hips. What's the big deal? I never said you couldn't touch my coat. Are you kidding? When I were young, I were too bloody afraid of that old bear. I were always afraid it would come back to life and eat me. Me too, Robert laughs. William just shakes his head laughing. The following morning, William and the boys load a wagon with some cuts of meat and the bearskin coat. Then, William, John, and Robert climb on board and head off for Mr. O'Callahan's. Mr. O'Callahan has been wanting that coat since he first set eyes on William's, and now he is just minutes away from having one of his own, as William pulls in front of the general store. You lads carry the meat. I'll bring the coat. Without a word, the brothers jump down, throw some meat over their shoulders, and carry it into the store. As they enter, Mr. O'Callahan is standing in front of the counter, arms wide. My word, William! That is one beautiful coat. And it's all yours, old friend. Come try it on. Excitedly, Mr. O'Callahan slips into the coat as William holds it up. William steps back, looking him up and down. Looks good on you. How's it feel? Mr. O'Callahan shrugs his shoulders, rubbing the back of his head on his furry collar. Wonderful! And it fits like a glove. I love it. He pauses to look William in the eyes. Bloody heavy, though. It is. And I understand 'tis no for everyone. So, if you dinna... Nay, I bloody love it. A deal's a deal, Makwa. You'll no be talking me out of it. Speaking of which, I've an idea to run past you. With the squint of his right eye, do you now? Mr. O'Callahan stares him down with a devilish grin. How many of these do you figure you can make between now and the fall? William brings a hand to his chin. I dinna ken. With all due respect, Mr. Makwa, sir, I've a good many customers who'd love to have one of your coats. So, if you can make 'em, I can sell 'em right here in my store. Even at the price I paid you, I can still make a tidy profit. He sticks out a hand. What do you say? William shakes his hand. I'd say we have an accord, Mr. O'Callahan. That's what I'd say. O'Callahan tightens his grip. Excellent. And for the agreed upon price? Aye, works for me. Excellent. I will buy as many as you can make. With that kind of incentive, William really wants to maximize this opportunity. Meaning, between the farm, meat business, and this, he and his sons officially have their hands full. So much, in fact, that Mary and Flora get in on the act as well. And all the way through till the end of summer, they hunt, tan, and fashion 24 bearskin coats for Mr. O'Callahan, plus one for Flora, Mary, and each of their sons, making the entire project hugely successful, save one thing they never gave thought to. For decades, the people of Winchester and the surrounding area have referred to William as Makwa, the man in the bearskin coat. However, by Christmas, there are dozens of men walking around in one, it quickly dawning on them that the old reference to their father just lost its shine. One day, while delivering meat downtown, a man in one of his coats walks up. He and William exchange a glance, and the man says, "I bagged this one last winter." William smiles and nods. "I'm sure you did." During the time William and his crew were making the coats, there were whispers the British Crown was lobbying to have the Virginia Regiment reinstated and serve as an extension of the British Army to protect the western frontier. As it turned out, the rumors were true. However, upon hearing the Crown's proposal, the Virginia Assembly shut the idea down. Rather than capitulate to the wants and needs of the Crown, they chose instead to reinstate the regiment as Virginia's own provincial militia, under control of the Virginia Assembly. Rather than being sent off to some faraway location, they will remain in the colony to provide it protection. As a result, the Virginia Regiment was recalled, including Sergeant John Alban. The Alban Farm, Fall, 1762. As the family waits in the barnyard to say their goodbyes, John and Robert are shaking hands in the barn. "Are you sure?" Robert squeezes his hand, nodding. "Aye, me place is here, brother. 'Tis mine as well, but some things are bigger than Alban village." "I ken you're right, and that's precisely why I'm staying. Ma and Da are getting older. They be need me here, far more than you need me out there." John nods. "To ken you're here, looking out for 'em. It gives me peace." They hug, and as they step away, there is a moment looking into each other's eyes when each knows exactly what the other is thinking. They both have a mission, a purpose. John's is to serve the people of Virginia and to keep the colony safe. Robert's is to look out for their family and keep the farm running. As their eyes break away, they turn towards the barn door and make their way into the yard with John's horse in tow. As they come into view, William says, "All packed and ready to go, Sergeant?" Dapperly adorned in his red regimental uniform, John smiles. "Aye, Da. Ready as I'll ever be." "Well, get over here and give me a hug, then." Just then, Mary chimes in, pushing past her husband. "Just wait your turn, mister. There'll be a line, and it starts behind me." The family share a good laugh, and just like before, they say their goodbyes. Then Sergeant Nessibon mounts his horse, throws him a wave, and rides away, off to Fort Loudon to rejoin the regiment, all the while looking like a younger version of his father with his new bearskin coat draped over his uniform. William, Mary, Flora, and the boys watching and waving as he fades into the distance.